101 Facts About North Korea. In this episode, you will learn not only about the history of the country's emergence, its formation, traditions, and customs, but also understand why North Korea is the way it is and what needs to happen for the regime to collapse. How much does it cost to escape from the DPRK? Where do North Koreans live? And how much do they earn? How can you climb the social ladder in North Korea? What kind of watch does the head of the DPRK wear now? And what kind of entertainment did previous rulers enjoy? Where can we, as tourists, travel to in North Korea? And how much does it cost? I'm going to debunk a lot of myths. Literally, what can you buy in North Korea for $10 and much more? This isn't just 101 facts, guys. This is 101 facts about North Korea. Damn it. By the way, yes, it's better to call it the DPRK if you happen to be there, because when you say North Korea there, it will remind the residents once again that Korea is divided into two countries. One of them is bright and beautiful, and the other is occupied by evil American capitalists. The DPRK is a young state. It has only existed for 75 years and is not small, almost 26 million people. It ranks 54th in the world, more than Portugal, for example, or Kazakhstan. The capital is Pyongyang, and 80% of the country's territory is covered by mountains. It is washed by two seas, the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan. From 1910 to 1945, Korea, which at that time was not yet two separate states, belonged to Japan. After the end of World War II, Japan was in decline, and therefore the northern part of Korea came under the control of the USSR, and the southern part under the control of the United States. As a result, when the Republic of Korea was established in 1948, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was also formed. Kim Il-sung became the first ruler of the country. His birthday is still a public holiday in North Korea. Kim Il-sung's real name was Kim Sun-ju. After coming to power, he deliberately changed his name to mean son. In the last years of his life, Kim Il-sung was forbidden to be photographed from the right side due to a tumor on his neck. Here, photographs were removed from public access, and photographers could be sent to prison. Despite his death in 1994, he is still the formal ruler of North Korea. His portrait must be present in residential buildings, apartments, public institutions, factory entrances, subways, railway stations, and so on. Serious criminal penalties are imposed for damaging the portrait. For example, there is a story of a woman who saved her children during a fire instead of saving the portraits of her leaders and received a real prison sentence for it. On June 8, 1994, when Kim Il-sung died, smiling was strictly forbidden, and gossiping, dancing, or drinking alcohol on that day is still prohibited to this day. For any violation of the rules, people can be sent to labor camps or killed. There are more than 500 monuments to Kim Il-sung in North Korea. Quotes from his works and speeches are recited by heart and used everywhere. Music on the streets plays with his words. In addition, the DPRK uses a special calendar, the Juche calendar, which counts years from the year of Kim Il-sung's birth. Therefore, it is not 2024 in North Korea, but only 112. But they are aware that it is 2024 because the media presents it as if they are completely cut off from the world. No, they are aware. It is written in parentheses. His son and second ruler of the country, Kim Jong-il, was born in the USSR and was named Yuri Yersenovich Kim at birth. This happened in the Khabarovsk region in 1941. And according to the legend invented by Korean propaganda, at the moment of his birth, a double rainbow appeared in the sky and the brightest star lit up. And according to the same legend, he was not born in the USSR, but at the foot of the Great Mount Paktu in Korea, in a secret partisan camp. Here are a couple of interesting facts about him. Kim Jong-il's annual expenditure on imported cognac was 800 times greater than the average annual income in the country. Expensive imported cheese was flown in from Italy on chartered planes. In general, he denied himself nothing. He invented the hamburger in 2004 and named it that. He simply loved movies. His collection consisted of 25,000 films, and his favorite movie was Friday the 13th. Rambo, Godzilla. It was he who kidnapped South Korean film director Shin Sang-ok to make a North Korean version of Godzilla. During his 8 years of forced exile, the director made 20 propaganda films and was sentenced to 5 years in prison for his views, where he was brainwashed. Ultimately, while on a business trip to Vienna to negotiate the worldwide distribution of a North Korean film, he successfully escaped. His passion for cinema is an important point, because even before he ascended to the throne, he was involved in and clearly contributed to the opening of Six Studio. The cool thing about Six Studio was that it was a fairly successful animation studio in those years, producing cartoons not only for North Korea, but for the whole world. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Totally Spies, The Simpsons, SpongeBob SquarePants. Some parts were actually drawn there. According to the Constitution, the DPRK is a socialist country, but in reality, the state is equally distant from both communism and capitalism. It is much more reminiscent of a monarchy. Power in the country is inherited. Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, and now his son Kim Jong-un rule. When Kim Jong-un was officially declared the leader of North Korea on December 28, 2011, he became the youngest head of state in the world. He was 29 years old at the time. The fact is that Kim Jong-un's date of birth is not known for certain. Well, it's around that age. Kim Jong-un is a basketball fan. This explains his friendship with Dennis Rodman, a former NBA star who has visited North Korea several times at the invitation of the leader himself. Kim Jong-un studied in Switzerland. He arrived there in 1991 under the name Park In-ji and lived with his sister Kim Il-jong and his uncle Kim Pyong-sun. He attended an international school in the Bern region where he studied English, German, and French, as well as mathematics, science, and art. He was interested in basketball, computer games, and American movies, but also showed leadership skills in politics. Some of his classmates and teachers remember him as a friendly, modest, and sociable person who did not stand out among other students. However, others say that he was withdrawn, did poorly in school, and had discipline problems. That's probably where his love for good Swiss watches comes from. Here are a couple of models and their prices. Not very patriotic, of course. So, did Kim Jong-un have any brothers? Yes, he has one who is still alive. His older brother, Kim Jong-nam, was killed in 2017 at Kuala Lumpur Airport, and his middle brother, Kim Jong-kol, is currently living in exile in China. He is believed to have been a rather gentle and kind person, which made him unsuitable as heir to the throne. In general, Korea's history is quite painful. The country experienced a severe famine from 1990 to 1995, which, according to various estimates, claimed about 500,000 lives. The famine was caused by a sharp reduction in international aid, ineffective policies by the North Korean leadership, poor harvests in the country, and weather conditions, floods, droughts. The recovery in North Korea began in the early 2000s, when the country received significant aid from China and South Korea and increased its exports, including food, drugs, and weapons. Kim Jong-un inherited a country that was already on the rise. Although people continued to starve, the situation was improving. He also inherited a country with a well-functioning, ferocious control mechanism, the world's most brutal censorship, and the world's largest number of political prisoners. And despite the fact that he studied in Switzerland, he did not make any concessions, because he understood that if Koreans began to learn about the outside world, the regime would fall. Especially since cracks were already appearing. There was an illegal trade in South Korean and Chinese films and books in the capital, and something had to be done about it urgently. He brought the Linux operating system into the country, but with a twist. To put it simply, it's not ordinary Linux. The system only allows files approved by the authorities to be opened. That is, if you created, for example, a thesis document and decided to give it to your friend on a flash drive, he would not be able to open this file because it is not certified by the authorities. Also, every computer screen is periodically screenshotted, and then these screenshots are stored and checked.
What are you doing there?
One of the most famous defectors from North Korea, Park Yang-mi, recounted how, at the age of 9, she witnessed the public execution of one of her friend's mothers for watching South Korean films and giving DVD recordings to her acquaintances. Who turned her in? There are people here for that. In North Korea, there is one informant for every 50 people. Raids are regularly conducted at night to check whether your radio transmitters are sealed. For example, because in regions close to South Korea or China, you can pick up their radio stations and listen to their radio. They check whether the portraits of the leaders are clean. Yes, everyone even has a special kit for this, and you have to wipe them every day. Despite the fact that all power in the country belongs to one dynasty, there is something like a parliament, an elite that is re-elected every 5 years. But, as you understand, the results are predetermined. Everything, as a rule, is inherited, thanks to which this system does not collapse. Since there are no superfluous people, it is not in anyone's interest to overthrow the Kim family, because when the regime falls, they, the elite, will fall too. In addition to the ruling dynasty, there is also a class-based caste system in North Korea called Songbun. I won't bore you with the details, but basically there are enemies, neutrals, and loyalists. What is more important is that one's position in the Songbun affects whether a person can join the party, receive an education, and obtain a position. And in difficult times, such as in the 1990s when there was famine, it also affected access to food. So yes, in those years, enemies of the state literally died. In North Korea, an entire family can be punished if one person commits suicide or another crime. Usually 3 generations of the family are punished. Whatever Sanbuno's status is, it is inherited. No matter how hard a person tries, they will not be able to get a good job if there was an enemy of the state in their family. And, as you understand, it is very easy to become an enemy in North Korea. For example, you can simply keep a Bible in your home. Any religion in North Korea is severely punished, Christianity in particular, because, in his opinion, it promotes Western values. Here's another thing. Making international calls is a crime. The country has internet and communications, but not many people have access to them. To put it mildly, in North Korea, only 2,000 people have access to the internet. To the internal internet, it is heavily censored, restricted, and so on. And the right to connect to it can only be granted for work or study. Only the country's elite, special service employees, and our ambassadors from various countries have access to the normal internet. Such positions are highly valued in society and come with extremely high salaries, as these are the only people who can objectively look at the country and understand what is really going on there. The only thing you can do, for example, as a tourist in North Korea, is to send an email via a computer club, and the cost of such a letter will literally be measured by the number of characters in your message. You pay for every kilobyte. Here's another interesting fact. Falling asleep at a meeting while talking to Kim can get you the death penalty. For example, North Korea's defense minister, Hyun Yong-kol, was executed in 2015 in front of more than 100 people because he fell asleep during one of Kim Jong-un's events. The defense minister. Think about it. Only men who are government employees can drive cars. Women do not have this right, even if they work in this sector. And according to statistics, only 1 in 100 people can own a car in North Korea. Every North Korean citizen aged 17 and older is required to serve in the army. Men serve for 5 to 12 years, depending on the unit, and women serve for 3 years. This is a world record. Yes, women are also required to do military service, and more than 16% of the state budget is spent on military needs. In 2013, Kim Jong-un published a list of permitted hairstyles. There are 28 of them, but many people mistakenly believe that these are mandatory hairstyles. No, they are recommended. You can have any short haircut you want, but long hair and dyed hair will get you in trouble. By the way, there are no LGBT people in the country at all. It is believed that the country is so pure and rebellious that there simply cannot be any LGBT people in it. Most of the cars here are Chinese too. In fact, there's a lot of Chinese stuff here. One of the main requirements of Korean ideology is constant employment. That's why men and women in North Korea work 6 days a week and spend their free time on weekends doing volunteer work, attending rallies, and so on. By the way, protests are allowed, but not political ones. For example, they had a crazy denomination where private entrepreneurs were cheated. Naturally, they started grumbling and getting upset because they were cheated 100-fold, meaning they instantly became 100 times poorer. And naturally, they began to protest, and the state backed down, yes. Despite the fact that the hunger problem has been more or less resolved, about 40 to 60% of the population still lives below the poverty line, which is 15 million people. The situation has naturally worsened due to COVID-19, even though it was not officially present in North Korea. And judging by the investigations, it was almost non-existent there. But relations with China, which also closed its borders, suffered as well. And then, in 2021, storms and floods struck again, damaging the harvest. In North Korea, as in the USSR, a ration card system is still in place. Some products are distributed according to ration cards. For ordinary citizens, meat is a festive food, as their main diet consists of cheap rice and vegetables. In general, North Korea is still very much a communist country. Apartments look like this. And this, by the way, is a model apartment that they show you on TV. Engineers, military personnel, politicians, and distinguished workers can be given apartments for free for their labor achievements. If you want to buy one, the cheapest apartment in Pyongyang, the capital, will cost you about $40,000. In general, if you forget about what this country is like and look at it purely from an aesthetic point of view, it definitely has its own vibe that attracts tourists here. Let's take a look at the main attractions together. The Juche Idea Tower, the Victory Museum, the Kumsusan Memorial Palace, Kim Il-sung Square, the Mansuri Grand Monument, the State Circus, the Concrete Wall, the Triumphal Arch, the Archway, if you like, and the Rugyong Hotel. What is surprising is that life expectancy in the country is relatively high. At 72.5 years, it ranks 106th in the world, which is only 7 years less than in the US. There are no early marriages in North Korea. As soon as a girl turns 25 and her chosen one turns 27, they can finally get married. In this photo, a tourist photographer was able to capture the newlyweds on their wedding day. When he asked them why they decided to get married after all, their answer was something like, "We want to have many children who will join the army when they grow up and protect our leader from enemies." How sweet. Even more surprising is that, according to the CIA, the literacy rate in the DPRK is 100%. That means there is no one in the country over the age of 15 who cannot read or write. This is a world record. They have about 20 nuclear warheads. That's enough, if anything, due to constant military tests, the start of which is not disclosed. Japan and South Korea, which are nearby, are constantly sounding the alarm. Just recently, North Korea conducted another test of its missiles, and the missile landed 50 kilometers from the border with South Korea. The entire coastal area was evacuated. The DPRK flag consists of blue and white stripes, with a red stripe in the middle and a 5-pointed star. The star is the official symbol of ideology and communism, reflecting the memory of revolutionary traditions. The red color represents the blood shed by Korean patriots, as well as revolutionary determination, patriotism, and all that stuff. The blue color reflects the revolutionary forces' desire for brotherhood. The white color symbolizes the bright thoughts and ideals of the people. The coat of arms looks like this: a hydroelectric power station, powerful heavy industry, the working class, and rice ears. Well, you know, socialist agriculture and cooperative peasantry. They mainly pay in cash here, but they also have cards. If we are talking about salaries, a good engineer, for example, can earn between $50 and $70. Outside the city, of course, it's much worse, between $20 to $25. Remember, $1 for a North Korean is pure happiness. In general, there is an incredible amount of corruption in North Korea. You could say that everything is held together by this corruption. One step to the right, one step to the left. The only way to resolve an issue is to pay. Corruption in North Korea is the main way to get medical care, housing, work, and even food. One of the refugees interviewed said that anyone who does not pay bribes in North Korea is doomed. Basic necessities and career advancement, access to foreign media and escape from the country, prison conditions, and even release from custody, everything can be bought. If only you had the money. For example, escaping from North Korea now costs around $10,000, although in the past it could easily be done for a couple of $1,000s, or even for free, because the border with China was virtually unguarded. Until now, North Korea had been closed to tourists since 2020, when COVID-19 appeared. Well, on February 9th, the first plane will depart from Russia. People will fly there for a skiing vacation. It looks like this. The trip costs around 1,000 euros per person. By the way, the flight will be operated by a North Korean airline, which of course has only the oldest planes, which are the stuff of legends. But there are photos. Take a look. It looks very dubious, of course, but if you had the chance, would you try it? And you know, it's clear that North Korea is a country with a terrible and brutal inhuman regime, where power is in the hands of formal gangsters. I hope my video hasn't convinced you otherwise. Yes, I said a lot of normal things. I refuted a lot of facts, but I was just trying to talk about what the media headlines are telling me. I think you already know the media headlines, and information from 10 or 20 years ago is being exploited as if it were current. I didn't want that. I could tell you a little more about North Korea, guys, because I've absorbed a lot of information. I like it, and I hope you do too, but we are limited to 101 facts. So that's more than enough for today. So be sure to follow us, subscribe to the channel, like our videos, and let us know what you think of this 101 New Facts series.